Winning an NBL title isn't easy. Just ask the JackJumpers. The club faced plenty of adversity during its championship winning season, but it safely navigated those challenges to secure Tasmania its first NBL title since 1981.
Tasmania have done it! The island has its title, and the JackJumpers, in their third season, are NBL champions.
Scott, Clint, thanks so much for your time. Before we get to Game 5, I want to start at Game 3 and talk about Jack McVeigh's buzzer beater against United. Here it is. Talk us through the moment, Scott.
Well, I think, again, for me, it was just Milt being savvy enough to get this ball back in bounds.
Doyle kept it in!
It didn't surprise me, actually, that it went in. He's one of those guys, I believe, that every time the ball leaves his hand, it has a chance to go in. But his calmness, I think most guys would have panicked and just kind of thrown something up there. Yeah, just to go between his legs and just walk into it like that, I expect him to make shots. He says it every day. He sings this song about what he does, and he ends up doing it. So, obviously, a great moment for the franchise.
This point here where Milt saves it, I think someone behind us said, let it go, because it would have been our ball. And so for Milt to stay in bounds and get that back into someone, I guess kind of started it all. And then at that point, we saw Jack catch the ball, and I think we all knew he wasn't going to pass it. Jack lives for those moments.
Scott, you get the chance to go home court advantage. There was some drama pre-game for you, though, wasn't there? This is you at the start of the game, and you almost weren't there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, my daughter had flown in to Game 3, and then we get to Game 4, and in the afternoon around 4 o'clock, I was getting slowly ready to leave for the arena, and she basically collapsed in the bathroom. And at that point, we scooped her up and took her to the emergency room downtown, and ultimately, there was just fatigue and stress and everything else. But, I had to stay there for a while till I felt comfortable that she was going to, be all right. And I stayed there till, about an hour and 15 minutes out.
Clint, did the players have any idea that Scott mightn't have been coaching that night?
No, not at all. I was actually informed probably just before we were about to run out.
Sign of a good program, isn't it, when the coach isn't there, but it can roll on still?
Absolutely. Same as like with players when we get injured. Next guy comes up. So
you return home from Melbourne, home court advantage, a chance to win a championship in front of a home crowd. Very close finish, as we can see. You're up by a point with 16 seconds left on the clock. Talk us through this play.
Yeah, this is a play that they've ran at different phases during the course of the series with us. And, Deladova on his right hand is something that we're always concerned about. And hindsight's wonderful when you watch it, and probably could have done a few things. But, he drove it in there and made it, a little bit of a tough shot there. And then, Shawnee Mack decided to go this way on this play.
Sean McDonald to inbound. Deng was almost through. Melbourne get the ball back.
I thought this pass was through. Sitting from the bench, it was a centimetre or two of being through, and Majuk having an easy layup or an easy finish. But then again, once Jack got this last second shot off around half court, in my mind, all I thought was again.
2-point game.
Don't tell me.
McVeigh, does lightning strike twice? Melbourne come to enemy territory and win in a thriller.
I guess Tassie was up against the wall again. Bit of adversity coming our way, and we just had to prepare for a Game 5.
When they came off the floor and in the back room, as they came in the locker room, I was actually quite calm from the fact that we had just put in the work, and it was going to pay off for us. I really truly believed that we had been knocked around throughout the season, but never knocked out.
Talk to me about Jordan Crawford. Didn't have the final series he probably would have liked.
Yeah.
To this point in Game 5 when he went berserk. Could you believe what you were seeing from the sidelines?
In some instances I could, because, the series wasn't going obviously very well for him. In Game 3 he started to play a little better, but I do remember clearly telling him after Game 4, when we lost that game and he came off the floor, I go, you're ready to go now because you've seen the ball go in.
Crawford fouled. 3 ball goes with 1 to come.
He's a scorer, and you have to give him some freedom to take some shots, and he was just on it.
Great pass from McDonald. Swings to Crawford. Got it!
Some of the shots he was hitting were quite ridiculous. He carried us in that first half. Yeah, everything that he touched was turning out great for us, and he just happened to do it when the bright lights were on.
Now Crawford. Oh my!
I mean, this finish here is something else. With a 7-footer coming over your back, he was very, very good.
So final minutes, game 5. Everything's on the line.
They're almost there.
You're up by 3 points here, 32 left on the clock. Tell us how you're feeling on the sideline.
For me, it was just more about finishing this game off and just, again, staying steady and mentally sharp in what we were doing.
What about the shot from Chris Golding then? That just summed up the series in a way, didn't it, that it went in?
Last roll of the dice. Goal! Remarkable from Chris Golding. Off the glass.
He's a shooter. He knows how to put the ball in the hole. It happened to be one he was fading away out of bounds, and sometimes you say, well, can't do anything about that.
There was a moment there where you pushed Jack Fleming into the huddle. I know you do that a lot of games, but that was a big moment for you to do that. You obviously have a lot of trust in Jack.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of trust in our players and my staff, and I knew what he was diagramming there, but I think it just gives a young coach like him confidence, and why would I not stay with him the whole way? It is the biggest game, obviously, the biggest moment of the entire year, but our players are quite confident in knowing that Jack was going to do what he had to get done there, and I wanted to make sure that he was comfortable enough. I pushed him in there like, you go ahead and finish off what we started here. It came down to an inbounds play, but I think one of the things that people don't know about is, we've ran this play multiple times during the course of the year when Shawnee Mack ended up throwing this ball away, which was, not great. But we had discussed multiple times in practice that if you're going to turn this ball over, throw it into that corner high so it's a jump ball so it takes the longest to be deflected. He did exactly what he was trained to do for 7 months of going through this play. He could have panicked and thrown it across the line and could have got picked off for a steal and been disastrous. But actually the turnover was a really good turnover of what he had his options to be, and he threw it right where he was trained to throw it. And so although it didn't look pretty, I was very happy with the way he thought his way through the sequence of what we've taught him.
A turnover with 5 seconds to go, not ideal, but it was the best case scenario of how we get through that moment. If Shawnee had got a 5-second count, they can set up something, get what they want. Everything that we do over the course of the season is to prepare you for the last 3 minutes of Game 5 of a championship series. That's the way you want to prepare.
When Delhi threw up the shot, you talk about the basketball gods a lot, Scott.
Yeah.
They're on your side that day.
Yeah, absolutely were.
For the win! From halfway!
These guys, put in the work, and I think you get rewarded at the end of the day by doing the right things, and basketball gods were good to us at different times during the course of the season, and this was the last one that answered our prayer.
So here it is, the final buzzer sounds.
Tasmania have done it! The island has its title, and the JackJumpers, in their 3rd season, are NBL champions in one of the all-time great grand final series.
There was a delayed reaction when that ball hit the rim. I think everyone was like, is this game actually over? And then once it sets in that we're not playing anymore, obviously it's emotional. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing moment for our guys, and some of the stuff I haven't actually seen some of this stuff. So to see the emotion of some of our players and just their faces, it really means everything to me. I said this many times that this championship wasn't going to change my life, but it changed some of these players' lives without question. It changed 500,000 Tasmanians that were behind this team. It's just a brilliant moment for the JackJumpers in our organization.
Clint, you've had this feeling a few times before with another franchise. What did it mean to do it as a JackJumper?
A new club, starting from the beginning to see the progression through year 1, year 2 into year 3, and I mean, at times you think, how do you win a championship in just the third year of the club? And I mean, you could just look at this video here, the amount of people that coming into frame had played a part in maybe not just this season or the past season, but the 2 that come before that. And you'll see people coming forth in and out of camera, and each one of us has played their part in getting the JackJumpers from nothing to a championship team.
There was a moment there, Scott, you're on the phone because your wife, Laurie, and daughter, Danae, couldn't be there. Here it is right now. How was that?
Yeah, I mean, everything I've done since I've been here is for my family and how I go about my business in general, and then to have them on the phone there, I said, we did it kind of thing. And it was very emotional to see them, and I actually saw a video of them falling down in front of the TV. Some people that were watching them watch the game in the last second, so I have some really great video on my phone of them and the emotion that they had for 3 years of a lot of work.
You're a little bit wet there. You got the Gatorade shower.
Yeah.
Did you see that coming?
I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. I think Milt ended up scheming that one up, but I wasn't expecting that at all, and it was actually quite cool and refreshing.
We see you do your speech in a moment, and you just nailed it.
I love Tasmania. And the last thing I'll leave you with, island defended.
I just said it because, for 3 years we've been defending the island. I think for me it was just a capsulation of we did it, and we defended this island for everyone, and it just came out that way.
Melbourne United, obviously powerhouse franchise of the competition. Clint, you've played them for many years. To knock off Perth, first of all.
For the second time in their 3 seasons, the JackJumpers are headed to the Championship Series.
And then to come to Melbourne and defeat them, the 2 juggernauts of the competition. Yeah. Amazing.
We beat 2 Goliaths in Australian sporting history. We were chasing them and kind of just always measuring ourselves against them. It's been great to win this at home, but there's also this satisfaction. I think, I don't know if Clint would agree, but winning on the road in someone else's building in a Game 5.
You look at those 2 teams, and the one thing that they have on us is history, and a history of winning. And for us to be considered one of the best, you got to beat the best. To do that it was extremely hard, but so rewarding.
I want to ask you about the photo, Scott, that one. Talk us through the shirt off, please.
Okay. Our motto been for our club and for these guys is to pound the rock. A stonemason basically pounding this rock until it breaks, but it's not necessarily the pounding of the first hammer, but the 100th one or the 200th one, it'll end up breaking. And so we live by doing that work every single day. And we created then basically the hammer, which you saw on my hand, which we present to someone at the end of every single game that we've won. And usually I present that to someone that's done something great. It doesn't have to be the best scorer or whatever, but just something that has impacted us from winning. And so we went through the season presenting that hammer, and part of the tradition was to take your shirt off when you got it, and like Thor, and grab it off the floor. At the end of that game, I went to grab the hammer, but the hammer was gone. I looked around, and Clint ended up having the hammer because I was about ready to present it actually to the entire team for what had obviously transpired. And when I got done saying thank you and just a few things, Clint ended up taking the hammer and basically stepping forward and said some really nice words about myself and gave me the hammer. Which in turn they went crazy because they knew one thing would happen is I have to take my shirt off and I have to raise it above my head like Thor. And they probably were thinking, is he going to do it or not do it? And I ended up having my hat on, so I went full boat, took the shirt off, they went crazy, tilted the hat, and put the hammer up in Thor. And I'm sure people looking at that thing like, how do you get a hammer? Why is his shirt off and the whole thing? But there's a reasoning to the madness there. But, yeah, it was a moment that, believe me, I've heard a lot about it in the last few months about that shirt and that beautiful physique.
I've got one of those T-shirts.
They're T-shirts now with that on there, which is
Excellent.
In that moment, had no other option. We had spent the whole season taking our shirt off. If you got that hair,
The good news, I was soaking wet anyway, so it had to come off eventually, so what the heck.
Just a little bit earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about the airport coming home. What was that like, Scott, for you, coming off the plane and seeing the fans there waiting for you at the airport?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we knew it was going to be a big morning. We were actually more concerned about who was actually going to get on that plane and who was actually going to be up or who hadn't gone to sleep yet. So it was obviously a big evening for our guys there in Melbourne. And we knew landing there that, was going to start up a big day and a big couple of days for us. And to have fans waiting at the airport, obviously extremely special. I got to see my wife and daughter for the first time. For me, it was obviously very emotional to see them.
Clint, what was that like at MyState Bank Arena? It was like a rock concert almost, wasn't it, with everyone waiting there for you when you arrived?
Absolutely. Definitely one of the highlights of my career is walking up onto that stage with my daughter in my arms, my son holding my hand walking up there, and just hearing the noise and my son just throwing his fist in the air like he'd won the thing for us. And they're just moments that only a few percent of the population get to experience. And that was, it was remarkable.
What do the fans mean to this club?
I mean, they're one of the driving forces behind what we do. They're continually showing up at games, selling out that arena. Absolutely the best travelling fan base I've seen within my times of playing professional basketball. And the amount of fans that travelled up to Melbourne for that game, it's mind-blowing. You see them marching through the streets, marching through that park, and there'd be 500 of them. And to see that in an away game is truly special, and that's certainly something you can't take for granted, because that does not happen anywhere else.
I'll leave you with this. I feel like I know both of your personalities pretty well by now. This has been lovely, but I'm assuming this is all going to be put to bed now, and your focus is purely on the season ahead.
Clint, you want to answer that?
Yeah, and we've already started. I think I've heard the word championship once, and that was because we had mentioned we're not going to talk about the championship we had just won.
The only thing we are going to duplicate is our work ethic and our culture, and our guys showing up to do the work to represent the state. The trophy's nice to have around, and it's in our past, and it's great for our history, but ultimately it's a new journey with a new group of players, and we start all over, and there's 10 teams this year that all believe they can win a championship, and we just have to make sure that we're doing the right things and putting in the work, and hopefully we're still standing when it's all said and done. But to me, it's really about, again, representing the people of Tasmania and how we go about our work, and just trying the best that we can to put the best product out there for the fans, and we'll just try to defend the island again.
Scott, Clint, thank you so much. Hopefully we can do this all again next year.
So there it is. The island has been defended, and the Tasmania JackJumpers champions for the very first time.